What's up everybody, just a disclaimer up front, I'm about to rant a lot about Blizzard and World of Warcraft. If that's not your thing, enjoy this highly sexualized footage while I chat. See, just like a strip club in Atlanta, we've got something for every brand of weirdo here at MMO-Play. Anyway, a few days ago, Blizzard released an earnings statement that marks the game's first major downside since its latest expansion, Warlords of Draenor. The game lost 3 million players in World of Warcraft, which is the biggest swift loss in numbers in the game's history. Now, to keep that in context, this does follow the steepest growth in the game's history, so when looked at relatively, it's not really that big of a deal. It's kind of like losing your boner after having a 6-hour Cialis stiffy. True, your cockle isn't He-Man anymore, but it really wasn't before you had the new content introduced to it either. But the WoW downturn did get me thinking about MMOs lately in general. Here's a question. Are you looking forward to the next great MMO? I am. Honestly, I feel like I've been looking forward as long as I've had pubes. But it's also ramped up, I think, in recent years. So why is that? Some people would say we're always looking for the next great thing because it's a reflection of the changing marketplace. MMORPGs are going the way of the dinosaur and other styles of MMOs are dominating. Proof of this can be seen in that same Blizzard earnings statement. While World of Warcraft is down to 7.1 million players, the company's new MOBA, Heroes of the Storm, is enjoying 11 million beta signups. That's right, beta, not even released yet. And then there's Hearthstone, the juggernaut, the company's card game, which recently saw a very successful mobile expansion and blasted over 20 million people some time ago. So in short, within Blizzard, which like it or not is the MMORPG company of record these days, MMORPGs are fading away and being taken over by other MMO genres. Or at the very least, the marker for success in the field has changed. Now, it's not all about being the juggernaut. The failure of Elder Scrolls Online to hit critical mass in particular stands out in my mind as evidence of this. Now, Elder Scrolls is going to consoles, and it seems to be more concerned with making their current player base into fanboys and getting those who tried the game out when it first launched to come back and give it another shot. Which brings me to the question at the core of this video. What happened? It seems to me that there's only really one answer out there to this question, and it's simply that the culture and the people in it are changing. But why? It's not like MMORPGs haven't changed with those people. If you want proof of that, go play ESO or WildStar or Neverwinter, and then try to go back to WoW. Like a hand job in a church basement just feels weird, dude. That's because since WoW came on the scene, stuff has changed a little bit, and I would say for the better. We've got a whole subset of games now that are using aim-focused, action-style RPG mechanics instead of click spell style. And this brings me to the title of this video. It's pretty ballsy, right, to say that WoW birthed and then killed the MMORPG genre, but stay with me here. Back to the question, why is the culture changing? Here are some answers. First, foremost, and biggest in my mind, with automation, there is no community, or at the very least, you severely cripple your community. What I mean here is that the easier it is to find the people you need, the harder it is to keep them. Dungeon and PvP queues, easy porting, guild finders, these are all a part of that problem. Next, the companies that would theoretically create these groundbreaking games don't really exist, or don't have enough of an incentive to go after the marketplace, or feel as if the market is too crowded with big players to really jump in. You want to know where the most exciting game announcements for me have come from in the last few years? Crowdsourcing, no lie. I see an Assassin's Creed trailer and it's like my mother telling me she loves me. Yeah, it's nice and all and you want to hear it, but I've heard it before. I see a Crowfall trailer on Kickstarter and it's like Rosario Dawson saying she wants to my brains out. I've never heard it before, I'm probably never going to hear it again, and I'm ready to jump into that. Lastly, MMORPGs are just too easy, and I know this is one of those elite player arguments that people hate, but seriously, it's true. If you've spent more than 10 hours playing an MMORPG in a single session, trying to do something super hard, you know what I'm talking about. Having races to world firsts is not the same as having a challenging and at times seemingly impossible experience. That entire flair of extreme and scaling difficulty in MMORPGs is gone. And what does World of Warcraft have to do with any of this? Well, if you've been playing at any point since the Burning Crusade expansion, you already know the answer. WoW has to do with all of this. They literally adopted all of these policies. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that Blizzard invented these alarming trends, although some of them they certainly did. I'm saying that as the undisputed king of the industry, when they adopt or create something, it's a big deal. And like a sorority house with STDs, it spreads like crazy. My accusation is simply that Blizzard went from from being one company with one set of priorities and values to a completely different company with a completely different set of values and priorities. Now it's profit, pure and simple. I actually struggle to see any advancement in World of Warcraft lately that is not in some way related to bolstering profits. But I'm also willing to admit that that could just be a business thing in general. Maybe they've always been this way, and it only seems to me like in the early days they cared more about things like player immersion and player creativity and player innovation. Regardless of their intention, it's hard to argue against the simple fact that Blizzard's implementation of a number of features is directly responsible for huge swings in the market, and that those swings have led us to where we are in the MMORPG marketplace today. Now, of course, all of this could change tomorrow. RPGs have been dead before, then someone comes along and throws down a resurrection spell. All it takes is one great game and the right team behind it to change the world, and WoW is perfect proof of that. But in the same way that Walmart killed or changed mom and pop shops across America, Blizzard has made the process, in my opinion, that theoretical next company has to go through a whole lot harder with their choices. Now, you could see that as just good business practice, or you could see it as corporate thuggery. I could see arguments on both sides of that, but what do you think about this? Do you think MMORPGs are slowly crawling toward the grave and that Blizzard is in some way largely, mostly responsible for that? Or do you think the market has just transformed into a leaner, more flexible, more diverse marketplace? I really want to hear what you think. I think this is a great conversation for all of us at MMO Play to have, so leave a comment below and let me know. I've been the Higgs from MMOplay.com, and I'll see you tomorrow.